Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Cooking with Mario. I'm Chef Mario DiMartino, living here in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. I'm so glad you could tune in. I got a nice, unique, seasonal type dish for you today. You know, you ever get a blessing or a gift from somebody in terms of, you know, maybe some fresh meat from a hunting episode or some fish or something like that, or something from the garden? Well, this is one of those episodes. I'm going to teach you today how to work with the wild caught mackerel fish right off the Atlantic Ocean. Come on back in a few moments. We'll show you how to put this easy, nutritious dish together with Chef Mario from the Newburg Deli.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
You want the best for your child. At St. Michael the Archangel School, we want the best for our students, offering structure, a challenging curriculum, and individualized attention based in faith to develop the whole person, mind, body, and spirit.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
I
am St. Michael's.
Okay, back in the kitchen. I promised you I'd show you how to make this dish. And I don't know if you ever have a friend that goes out fishing, deep sea fishing, you know, off the coast and Atlantic coast, and he picks up stuff. Well, I got friends like that, and they come into the deli. And matter of fact, this gentleman works for me, my buddy Tim, and he's a great guy, and he takes his grandkids out, and they caught a bunch of fish this week, and they happened to come across a whole mess of mackerel. Now, they did get sea bass, they did get other type of deep sea type stuff, you know, tuna, what have you, but he decided to generously bless me with some mackerel. He had just an abundance of it. You know, it's like when you get the zucchini in the summertime and you just don't know what to do with 86 zucchini. Well, this is one of them scenarios. So I said to myself, you know, as a frugal cook, how can I utilize this mackerel? What can we do with it, you know, to make it appetizing, nutritious, and you know, save a few bucks, if you will, in the kitchen, and make my family healthy. So I've decided to whip together this little, you know, Oriental rendition of utilizing mackerel. You know, it's got an Oriental twist to it because of some of the ingredients, but make no bones about it, you can cook mackerel various ways. So with that said, I took the mackerel, you know, thankfully it came filleted. I didn't have to do this, so it came right off the dock there, and they fillet it. You know, it's got skin on. It's a rather bloody fish, you know, and it does have a spine left in it even after they fillet it. You could do one of two things. You can get the little tool or tweezers, and you can pull those splinters out, if you will, or the bones. I keep them in because I kind of like the bones. Add some flavor. It gives it like a rustic texture to it, and it's not going to hurt you. Bones are good for you. Nice calcium in there, all kinds of sea nutrients, if you will. So the first thing you want to do is you want to put some rice on, because we're gonna utilize rice in this dish. I'm not going to play with the fish quite yet, but I'm going to show you what to do in regards to dressing up the fish dish, because it gets a little boring when you just have fish. You got to doll it up. It's like any kind of protein or main course. You want to put other ingredients to it to enhance it, to make life more palatable for your family, your guests, especially kids who are more reluctant to eat fish. So with that said, I got some nice bok choy cabbage here, and I'm gonna make some rings here at the end. I'm not gonna use all this here. I'll take some of that off. We'll reserve that for the side, and I'm gonna eventually put this in a separate stock. So I didn't go over the ingredients with you, but I'll just holler them out as we go along. You know, you can add or minus any type of vegetable or green that you want in this dish, because it's your creation, and you're gonna make it according to your taste and your likes. So we've got carrot. Carrot takes the longest to cook, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and cook off this carrot in that steaming water, because you don't want to put the carrot right in the fish dish, because remember, everything cooks at a different temperature, and you just kind of want to ease it along, soften it up a little bit, because soft is nice for people who've got teeth problems. And any rate, so we've got some carrot here. I don't know what style you call this. It's not julienne. I forget what they call this. But you want to make nice little slivers here like that. Little angular juliennes, if you will. I forget what they call that. You know, I didn't go to culinary school, so I don't have all the terms quite down. But I do know how to mix things together. So mainly for color for this, so you're not really adding it. I mean, there's some nutritional value in steamed carrots in your thing, but so we're gonna take these carrots like so on this plate here, and that'll be our first addition to our mixture. Back here we've got a pot of steaming water, you know, just regular steaming water right there, nothing special. So that's the hardest in texture that we're going to put in quite yet. And then we're going to go for, got to have a little bit of onion in there. It just really does something for this dish. So in the meantime, I've got this mackerel, you know, this is the fresh fillets here. I've got mackerel over here sitting in this dish, and mackerel is a really fishy fish, and it's a stinky fish. So you want to try to take away some of the pungent aroma and flavor to it by soaking it in warm water with some salt. Now I know it comes from salt water, but something about after it's dressed, the fish, and you put it in salt water, it reduces the harshness of the fish, and you're still going to have a fishy flavor, but it does help unless you really like, you know, pungent fish, which most people don't. So I got some onion here, nice little handful of cut onion. I'm going to put right in that boiling mixture of vegetables. Okay, I decided to add a little pepper to it. I think that'd be neat. I'm not going to stir fry the pepper. I'm just going to soften, and I'll show you why in a minute, because there's like a stir frying process that happens when you put the fish in a pan and you mix everything together. You can cook them any size you like. You got this belt, this pepper for color, pepper for, let me turn that up a little bit. We're utilizing the old coil stove here, 1950s. See, we like retro here. You know, we're not into modern stuff too much. So next week we'll be cooking in a cauldron out in an open fire for you. Go back to the 1800s. I'm just kidding. All right, so we've got those three things going. I turned it up a little bit. Now I've got this cabbage here, bok choy cabbage family. I might put a little bit more in. So we're going to add that into that mixture. Give it variety. Okay, let that sit for a little bit. You gotta mix it around a little bit. I think I'm gonna put a little more cabbage in here because it definitely needs more green base. I'll put a little bit more in there. This is all pre-rinsed, by the way, before you go ahead and put her into the mix. This is the green part I'm kind of after more than that other substance there. All right, so yeah, this is definitely a dish you have to get creative with. I mean, I guess you could get mackerel and you could bread it and fry it, and maybe put ketchup on it, you know, if you're trying to reduce the fish flavor. So this one here, you have to, we got that. That looks like the right amount of greens there, mixed there. You put the lid on it, let everybody get steamed up a little bit. Maybe I'll put a little more of this base in there. There we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to make the cameraman go back and forth 100 times. All right, there we have it. We have basically phase one. Phase one of the mackerel dish on how to cook at home style, sort of like Asian style, you know, hybrid of sorts. And we'll be back in a few minutes to show you phase two on how to bring the mackerel into it and how to really dress it up to make it nutritious for your family.
My name's Ken. When I first found out my partner hadn't paid our taxes, I found that I was quite far in debt, and Jim managed to get me from $246,000 to a settlement of $10,160. And through the process, I actually wanted to strangle him because we had 3 different offers from the IRS, one starting at $80-some thousand, which I figured I could probably finance the house and do this, but he said, no, we're gonna appeal it. He appealed it again down to $30-some thousand, and I still wanted to strangle him because he said, no, we're going to appeal it again. And finally, we settled for $10,160 is what the IRS took in the end. So I can't thank Jim enough for getting me out of the mess that I was in.
Jim Corvino here at Corvino & Verwise. We help people resolve tax problems every day. Our firm is comprised of CPAs and EAs. EAs are tax experts licensed in all 50 states. For over 40 years, and additionally, being certified tax resolution specialists, we set ourselves apart from other resolution firms. Regardless of how much you owe or how many years have not been filed, we can help you resolve your problem.
Altronic Security Systems. Stop unwanted guests.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
You want the best for your child. At St. Michael the Archangel School, we want the best for our students, offering structure, a challenging curriculum, and individualized attention based in faith to develop the whole person, mind, body, and spirit.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
I
am St. Michael's.
Okay, we're back on phase 2 with the holy mackerel dish. You ever hear somebody say that? Oh, holy mackerel. Yeah, well, I don't know if this fish is actually holy, but it's definitely edible. So a little bit about this fish. When you can do a lot. This is like, let's say you cook this fish like you would a trout. Obviously, you can season it, marinate it, and you could put the skin down on an open flame and on a grill maybe. You could do some things with it, but it's limited in its use. So with that said, you want to get an ugly cutting board. Don't ever put it on your good cutting board. And we're going to try to just get the bulk of the meat off of this skin. Now it's not a pretty meat when you remove it from the skin, because you kind of disfigure it, but nonetheless you're getting the main protein. Who wants to eat slimy skin? That's not what you want to do. So what I tend to do with this mackerel is just take the bulk of the flesh off. Now this fish is in the family of like a tuna in terms of consistency. It has that dark red grayish flake to it, and it acts like tuna when you want to cook it, so that's a good thing. The mackerel is in the Scambordeaux fish family. It's a French word, and it really, I wouldn't say it's one of the less desirable fishes, but it's not up there with like sea bass or swordfish and again tuna. It's cousin, but it's kind of like a chumming fish. I've been reading about it. It's a fish where a lot of other large schools of fish like to feed off this fish, and mackerel. It gets its name from another French word, which is Mackerel, I guess you would say. Again, I don't speak French. I'm just trying to be fancy with you. And it gets its name from that French word, which means mackerel, which means spotted, or marked. And that's where we get the word marked from. So you see these dots all over it? That's where it gets its name from. So, where is it indigenous to? I don't know, but it's a coastal fish. It's not a deep sea fish. You go out, 20 miles out and a mile deep. It likes to migrate close to the ocean shores in most cases. It's in Atlantic. It's tropical. Again, it's not the prettiest fish when you're preparing it, but you're getting the protein and the nutrition's nature intended, and some of the nutrition, is going to be those omega-3s. So, yes, you can eat that skin, but again, it's not very desirable unless it's maybe crispy or something. So you're getting omega-3s from it big time. You're getting protein. This is wild caught. So anything wild caught, especially off Atlantic, North Atlantic, is definitely desirable in regards to nutrition and purity. Because we don't have a ton of pollutants off the North Atlantic here, especially towards the Canadian Canadian side of things, they at least my perception is that's a little more pure than some other waters across the world. You know, so the mackerel fish, there she goes. So she's kind of ready to go where we need it to go in a few minutes. I got a pan working over here, and what I want to do with that pan, let me get another cutting board. I don't want to put garlic on my good board there. So you want to get a little bit of garlic going. That's number one. There's going to be a mixture in the base of the sauteing of the fish, and it's going to be garlic for flavor. Depends how much you like. I like a bulb or two, or maybe a clove or two. The next thing you're going to do is a little bit of onion in that fish. So and then we're going to take that fish and we're going to kind of saute it in a mixture of seasoning and various additives. You can keep the onion rather coarse, it doesn't have to be. So those two right there can start to... I got the pan up pretty good. I'm going to use grapeseed oil here for some reason, because number one, I got it laying around. Number two, I think a little bit of grapeseed. I'll tell you about this pan I got. It was at a thrift store. You know, I always talk about thrift store finds. 1950s or 60s Revere ware, solid cast iron with this mega lid there. Look at that. I mean, you can have a party in that thing. $2. That's the craziest thing, isn't it? $2 for that deal last week. I won't tell you where it was because I don't want you to go to my fishing hole and take all of my treasures. At any rate, so we've got a little garlic, a little onion going. Next thing you want to do, you want to make sure garlic is getting a little bit of toasty there. Just turn it down a little bit, flip it around. Put it on the back burner so I get my next application. That's going to be ginger. You know, typically I peel the ginger with the skin off, but as you peel the first layer of skin, it gets down to the meat of the ginger. So I'm gonna make sure I use about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of ginger, right around there, because that really gives it that oriental flavor. Something dark there in my pan. I don't know where that came from. Maybe that little piece of burnt garlic. I didn't like that. So we gotta remove anything that could be considered. All right, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Now the next ingredient you're going to use is mushrooms. There's something about, now you can use oriental mushrooms. I forget what the variety is called, but these look very oriental to me, or oriental enough. You can use regular domestic mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms. Again, mushrooms very good for you. So we've got a nice little mixture of mushrooms there. We're gonna go right in with that. We'll turn it back up a little bit because I got a little spooked with the couple more mushrooms. If you want to shoot some wine in there, you're allowed to. I might do that just for giggles, just to reduce the mushrooms, the onions. Let me see if I have a white cooking wine over here. That seems right. Just a little. If you really want to French it up, you put some butter in there, but I don't know about the butter and mackerel together. I don't think that works. So I'll just reduce it with a little bit of nice white cooking wine. Put that down. We're getting ready to add that fish in a few minutes. I got the vegetables over here. They've cooked off. So I took the lid off. They're kind of reduced. So they're not really hard. Not super hard when you bite into them. All right. Now we're gonna add the mackerel right in there. Holy mackerel. Mackerel, the spotted fish. There she goes, right into the program. Nice big chunks of fillets there. I mean, got it up high now. Sometimes you want to turn your temperatures up and down depending on how you want to do it. You know, I'm using this mackerel not because I'm cheap. You might say, well, you sound like you put this dish together because you wanted to use this stuff up. Well, yes, I did. Because there's a difference between being cheap and frugal. If you're raising a family of 4 or 5 kids, you obviously are going to find ways to save money. And if you've been given a little bit of protein by somebody, a little bit of protein by somebody, you should use it. You should be a good steward of it, a good manager of it, not just toss it out or say, hey, thanks, but I don't want this. You should take advantage of it. So cheap means, you know, I obtain things or do things for, you know, the sole purpose of benefiting myself, you know, for selfish motives or greedy gain. That's being cheap when you don't help other people or you abstain from spending. Frugal means, you know, I watch my dollars. I'm a good manager because I want to stretch things and be a blessing and help other people. That's my opinion. Frugal and cheap are not the same category. So I am frugal. So I'm going to use this mackerel, which came free, and you know, and turn it into something decent. Again, you got to like fish in order to eat this dish. So your next ingredient is going to be a generous helping of soy sauce. You're not going to add a lot of salt to this dish because soy is, you know, it's fermented tofu, I think, but it's definitely salty. We got some good oyster flavor sauce here. You know, you can go to various places and buy this kind of stuff. It's a little pricey, but it'll last you half a dozen to 9 meals if you kind of use it on sparingly. So now you've got that going, and there's kind of a secret to, see, the fish is cooking in that soy / oyster sauce, and the oyster sauce kind of tones down the harshness of the mackerel. All right, but what you want to do is you want to create a broth. You want to create some kind of a broth for the mackerel. So you're going to stretch that dark colored looking flavor, and it might be a little too thick to begin with. So when you pour it over the rice and what have you, you want the broth to seep into the rice. So you want to add a little bit of agua, just a little bit. This will make your broth stretch, because to me the worst thing you can do, cut that big piece, is pour something over a bed of rice, whatever, and there's not enough of the gravy, if you will. So there, it looks about the right consistency. We'll let that tone down a little bit. Now we're going to get our vegetables over here. We're going to take most of the broth out, and we're going to leave some of the broth in there for seasoning. Okay? This is just about ready here. You don't want to overkill it, but you want to make sure the fish is done and your broth is reduced a little bit. And so you can use 1 spoon to kind of make it all happen together. Come back in 30 seconds and we'll put all the ingredients together and show you how to make this affordable dish nutritious for your family.
This is Tom. He just started a job that has him out of town 2 weeks a month. Even with his hectic travel schedule, Tom always makes sure he's connected. That's why he chose Alarm.com. With Alarm.com's interactive mobile app, he gets a remarkable window into what's happening at his home when he's not there. Tom simply logs on to Alarm.com through his smartphone to check current system status, view recent activity, and watch live video. Tom also arms and disarms his system right from his phone, just in case he forgot to set the alarm before his trip.
Altronic Security Systems. Stop unwanted guests.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
You want the best for your child. At St. Michael the Archangel School, we want the best for our students, offering structure, a challenging curriculum, and individualized attention based in faith to develop the whole person, mind, body, and spirit.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
I am St. Michael's.
My name is Andy, and several years ago I received a letter in the mail from the IRS looking for some back taxes, which I hadn't paid in quite a few years. In looking at this, I realized I needed to have someone that can take care of this for me, and I found Jim Corvino in the phone book. They were wonderful and able to get liens taken away and clear everything up for me, and actually got my payments down to a $200 payment to the IRS. No more problems. I'm on the books and taking care of everything quarterly. Everything's wonderful. I highly recommend this firm to anyone that would like to come here.
Jim Corvino here at Corvino and Verwise. We help people resolve tax problems every day. Our firm is comprised of CPAs and EAs. EAs are tax experts licensed in all 50 states. For over 40 years, and additionally, being certified tax resolution specialists, we set ourselves apart from other resolution firms. Regardless of how much you owe or how many years have not been filed, we can help you resolve your problem.
Okay, bringing the three magic ingredients together this way. This is a 20-minute meal. If you really, if you really want to step it up with the time, it's just a matter of learning what order things go in. So what I like to do is I get this Italian rice. It's called basmati. It's not Italian. It's actually Indian. It sounds Italian though, but it's good. Basmati rice is really, so you get a little base here, This is steamed for a little bit, just 5 or 10 minutes of steaming that rice. And you put a nice little helping there for somebody. Maybe it depends on how much rice you like, All right, that seems to be the right amount for a big eater. Okay, your next layer is going to be your vegetables. This is that stuff we cooked off earlier. I think that looks neat when you kind of drizzle and layer vegetables that way. That looks about the right amount for a portion of somebody. I did almost forget one important finishing ingredient, and I did this on another episode, and I really didn't like myself afterwards, and that was the finishing touches of these green onions. I just want to get the little beards off first here. These little whiskers guy here. Get those there. And just enough for one dish, right? Just like that. That's it. Just enough for one dish. Make sure it's there like that. Okay, last ingredient is your mixture. The key ingredient, the mackerel. The holy mackerel. Get the nice flakes there like that. Oops. Mr. Mackerel did a roll-off. Top it off mackerel with mushroom. You got to get the broth. You see that broth? And let it drip down into the rice. This makes it very appetizing, like that. And then you're going to top it off with the nice little onions like that. Green onions. And there you have it, folks. A nice little dish by Chef Mario. Homemade utilization of fresh wild-caught mackerel off the New Jersey shore with basmati rice, sauteed array of vegetables, mushrooms, bok choy, Asian style. And I'll tell you, nutritious, delicious, affordable. And if someone blesses you with deer meat or fish or an abundance from a garden, make sure you put it to use and be the best steward you can be. Thanks for watching this episode. I'm Chef Mario in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. I wish you a great week. God bless you, and God bless this great country.
My name is Chris, and I'm an associate broker with Park Avenue Realtors in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Because of Corvino and Verwise, we now make real estate sales even when we have federal tax liens on the property. Corvino and Verwise know how to work with the IRS and remove those liens. If you're a realtor and you want to increase your income, I recommend them highly.
Jim Corvino here at Corvino and Verwise. We help people resolve tax problems every day. Our firm is comprised of CPAs and EAs. EAs are tax experts licensed in all 50 states. For over 40 years, and additionally, being certified tax resolution specialists, we set ourselves apart from other resolution firms. Regardless of how much you owe or how many years have not been filed, we can help you resolve your problem.